Hi guys and welcome back. In this video we're going to take our Hello World app a little further, and we're also going to add entry input fields. Input fields will allow us to retrieve data from users, let them input some stuff that we can then use within our functions. Let's get started. First of all, we're going to create our label and our input field. So we will say name label is ttk.label, and we will pass in the root and some text. We will also then pack it into the container. We will say side equal left, and we're going to say pad x equal 0, 10. What that does is it adds a little bit of spacing on the right side of the label. This one being the left side of the label and this one being the right side. So you can imagine that it is adding 10 pixels to the right of the label so that when we add another item beside it, it will be slightly separated. Which it is going to be the name entry. That is the item that we're going to add beside it, and that is ttk.entry. We're also going to put it in the root. We're going to define the width, and we're also going to say where the contents of this field should go. So whenever we type anything into this field, we want to be able to then use what's typed inside the field at any point. To do that, we will say text variable, and we're going to say user name. Now, of course, we do have to define the username variable, which we don't have yet. Here is where Tkinter differs from traditional Python code. In order to be able to get the contents of this entry field, we have to define a place in Python where this field can write to, and that is going to be called the tk.stringVar. A string var is just an object that is used to track the contents of these entry widgets. Essentially, it contains a string, and that string will always be whatever is currently typed in this entry. Next up, we're also going to pack it by saying side equal left, and we're going to say name entry dot focus. Focus is what you call on a particular component in Tkinter so that it appears focused on the window. Let me press play here and I'll show you what I mean by that. You can see now that the field has focus, it has the blue outline around it, and you can immediately type on it. Now, if we were able to somehow inspect the contents of the username variable, you would see that it contains the string Jose amongst other things. Let's close this for now, and I will create a greet button. We have created now our button as well, and that is just as we had before, something in the root with the text greet, and the command is this greet function up here that is currently empty. So to fill in this function, we're going to say print, and in here we're going to say hello username, which is this variable here, dot get. Dot get is a method that we call on these string var objects to retrieve the contents or the string contents of the variable. All right, so let's run this. Now, because all our components have been packed on the left, they all appear side by side. This is how side equal left works, and we're going to learn more about packing in the next video. So I'll type Jose here and then type and click greet, and you can see that hello Jose is printed out. Now, in order to make a little bit more of this, instead of username.get, we can type username.get or world. And what that'll do is if username.get does not return a value, or rather it returns an empty string, we're going to type hello world instead. So you can see that hello world gets printed out at the bottom left. So we've learned a couple more things in this video. We have learned how to create labels or just static text, as well as input fields or entries in our Tkinter applications. And we've also learned how to store the contents of those inside our own variables. And finally, we have learned about pad x, and also its counterpart, which exists, pad Y, to add extra spacing around any component. I'll say at this point that pad X can be used on any component whenever you use pack, so you can put it here or here, and that would also add spacing around these components if you want. In pad X, the 0 is the left and the 10 is the right, and in pad Y, the first one is the top and the second one is the bottom. So thank you for joining me in this video. Hope you've learned something, and in the next video we're going to look at pack. I'll see you there.